Dogs are biological mutants, and many of us in the anti-dog community simply refer to them as mutants. This may confuse or throw some people off, but the reasons behind it are good ones. Dogs are aberrant, as animals go. Even a cursory examination of dog behavior, especially when deliberately contrasted with that of normal animals, will quickly reveal just how dysfunctional they are. Humans have made them this way, and the most ethical thing we can do is stop breeding them. More on that later. There are traits they exhibit due to genetic mutations, and there is even a hypothesis among some zoologists which suggests a difference between dogs and wolves in connection with Williams-Buren syndrome. Basically, the so-called friendliness gene mutation that distinguishes dogs from wolves causes Williams syndrome in humans. In humans, this causes hypersociality and reduced intelligence. So, again, what is evident from even the most casual observation of these artificial canines and their behavior is just how anomalous they are, as living creatures go. That is a big part of the reason they are referred to as mutants and such. For starters, it is important to note that dogs are literally man-made. They are not the product of evolution or any natural processes. One assumes pretty much everyone understands where dogs came from, and even the prevailing theory spells it out. Now, dogs aren't the only ones that have been domesticated, but there is a lot about dogs that's different in comparison to all other animals, whether those animals are wild or domesticated. This will be outlined here as well. It should also be noted that the term domestication with reference to dogs is rather problematic. It's potentially misleading because it does seem as though many people think this is a synonym for safe. And not only are dogs not safe, they clearly aren't well suited to live among us, particularly in urban environments, which is to say, densely populated cities. But it's kind of insane how often dogs are referred to as if they're just another animal, when in reality, they aren't part of any food web or ecosystem. We do not use habitat distribution models for dogs, like we do for virtually all animal species. Or rather, they don't have a geographic range like other animals. Example given, the geographic range of the leopard, pictured here. The reason this isn't done is because dog populations don't have a corresponding natural environment, and they are only found where people are. Not altogether unlike a human parasite, which is only found where we are. This is mostly in cities and towns across the world, as well as on farms in rural areas. Nothing else in the animal kingdom exhibits this unique form of mindless aggression as that which can be seen in dogs. To name one example, no other animal barks the way dogs do. When I say this, I don't mean to suggest that no other animal produces a somewhat similar sound. After all, other canines do possess the capability to bark. The only reason I mention this is because at least one dog apologist has attacked this straw man, so I will make my position very clear. I'm not saying dogs are the only animals that produce a somewhat similar sound, although it should be noted that very few of them do, and dogs do it more than any other. But rather, when I say that no animal barks this way, what I mean to say is that nothing else in existence makes some abrasive, repetitive, and constant sound in response to everything that gets within, say, 20 meters or so of wherever it is, particularly when it is in an enclosed space. Dog owners and sympathizers apparently see nothing wrong with a creature that makes this uninviting and menacing vocalization at every living thing that passes by. To go back a few videos, this is something cats don't do, and which no other common pet animal does. Nothing in the wilderness conducts itself in this fashion either. It is only dogs doing this, which is something that can be said about a wide range of behaviors. And it's not just about the sound. This is clearly a form of aggression. Barking is often a precursor to an attack. Some dog defenders will even claim it is a warning. Of course, this is ridiculous, because when dogs bark at things, it's never at anything that's actually threatening them or even approaching them. I've done a lot of walking in the past, and a common experience is the same dog that sees me every day for weeks, barking at me in the same aggressive manner every time it sees me, or at others that pass by. It's like these stupid dogs haven't learned and cannot learn that passerby, be they human or animal, pedestrians or bike riders, are not anything to get worked up over. But going back to my original point, dogs don't simply make this noise. They will also run towards the object of their attack in this context. This is obviously a threatening behavior, and all of it is completely unnecessary and otherwise absent. That is to say, that if there were no dogs, literally nothing else would be causing people to experience this annoying threat from dogs behind gates, fences, and even from inside of vehicles, as well as porches, garages, and houses or apartments. Where I live, I hear this mindless mutant barking all the time. Dogs from inside various different units, barking their stupid heads off simply because they are alive, and that's how they conduct themselves. Sometimes you can even see these mutants through a window, as they sit there going off incessantly, simply because people are walking around outside. Personally, I would never want something in my house that behaves like this.
This week's video is Stop Dog from Barking Out the Window.
I've got a quick tip for you today on stopping your dog from barking at things or people going past out the front of your property.
Caesar's first 911 call comes from Elisa, whose mother's out-of-control lab buddy barks so incessantly that he terrorizes everyone in the family.
Hello, Lisa.
Hi, nice to meet you.
The classic question, how can I help?
Well, my mom's dog needs help, and I think my mom needs help also.
Okay.
He's very nervous. He barks at everything. My mom's lived here 3.5 years, and he's still a maniac when I walk in the door.
Hey, bud.
He's kind of going crazy the whole time. He barks incessantly.
And what does Mom do?
Tries to calm him. It's okay, stop barking, it's okay. He goes in circles and sticks right by her. Well, she told me recently, Buddy's like a small child, so she wants to comfort him. And I said, well, if I walked into my house and my child started screaming at me and yelling at me, I wouldn't comfort him. He would get in trouble.
So what else did he does?
My son, who is almost 10, he's scared to come over.
All right, Mason, come on in.
And he's trying so hard to get over it, but then he walks in and Buddy's barking like crazy. And so he doesn't want to come over, and I'm not really comfortable leaving him.
Yeah.
And he said he's afraid that Buddy is protecting Grandma and will eventually, lash out.
And Mason said that?
Yes,
That's pretty
protecting
smart.
his grandma.
Then there's the dog's intrusiveness. Perhaps the most notable thing about dogs is how off they are in general. But in particular, they are especially intrusive. It is very obvious that the natural wariness wild canines and other animals possess has been completely bred out of these mutants. Unlike normal animals, these invasive creatures have absolutely no qualms about approaching people. This is a hyperactive and needy predator that doesn't understand what boundaries are, at least not when it comes to other living things, as dogs do not respect the personal space of others. But they tend to lash out and become aggressive if people intrude on them. Of course, they even do this when people pay them no mind as well. If you see a loose dog in public, simply ignoring it is not going to keep it at bay. You may not even be aware that a dog is present at all, but it will certainly make its presence known. Meanwhile, natural animals have a very different tendency and will usually avoid contact with humans unless they actually feel threatened or are defending their young. And to be clear, it is only dog nutters who are intruding on dogs. This can be evidenced by all the cringe videos and pictures where these weirdos put their faces very close to their dog's face or insist on interacting with them in some bizarre way. However, interacting with a dog while it's eating is something many so-called dog experts will caution against, and rightly so. Of course, it shouldn't take an expert to understand about this or to know to avoid dogs completely, which is what we will advise. But the point is, dogs have absolutely no qualms about approaching people in general and will even steal food right out of someone's hands or their plate. Yet, if you try to interact with a dog while it's eating, it is very likely to lash out in violence. Honestly, there is a lot that could be said about how remarkably unintelligent dogs are, but I've made a couple of videos on this in the past already. I would recommend watching episode 4 of Demystifying the Dog, which is titled Dumb as a Dog. This video goes over it in some detail and provides multiple examples of what I am talking about. Additionally, there is a video I made 4 months ago called The Untold Truth About Dogs, Dog Behavior, and Dog Culture. In that video, I also go over a lot regarding this general topic as well, of dogs being exceptionally awful, and not just in terms of their stupidity. This has been Canine Official. Thank you for watching. Stay empowered, stay dog-free. Always speak the truth about dogs, and never say the dog's name.